Oh, Eric here, back with another standard video. Last time got my butt kicked a little bit. I don't know. Please don't go watch the Big Rampin'. Don't go watch Big Rampin'. I went 1-4. I played some incredibly long, miserable, grindy matches, to be honest. And I vowed at the end of that video, I'm coming back with hard aggro. So that's what we're doing today. We're playing green-white Hexproof. Featuring no cards from Avatar, to be honest, other than in the sideboard. But this is mostly a deck that you could have played last set release. It is relying on, first and foremost, really, Wonderweave Aerialist, aka Skyward Spider, I believe, in Paper Magic. It's a 2/2 for 2, Ward 2, and as long as it's modified, it has flying. The idea, suit this thing up, and beat our opponent down with a big flyer that they can't interact with. Now, Ward is not hexproof. However, a lot of the time, it kind of is hexproof. And especially with the amount of protection for Shard Mage's Rescue or Royal Treatment in the main, it's really easy to force your opponent to pay your ward costs and then get them with 1 mana. Actually, my thing's still alive, you know. Very tight list. We're on 4 Armored Armadillo, probably our worst creature. However, very resilient, especially to like red removal. 0/4 Ward 1, and has this activated ability where you can give it XO, where X is its toughness. We're not really trying to get to 4 mana too often, but it could come up, could be relevant. 4 Optimistic Scavenger, of course, playing a lot of enchantments. 4 Toadstool Admirer. This is our other main sort of ward creature that we're really relying on. 1/1 for 2. Sorry, 1/1 for 1. Ward 2. You can pay 4 to put a 1/1 counter on it. Not irrelevant. Once again, not really trying to get to 4 mana. We're running 1 Bulwark Ox as sort of additional protection against like main deck board wipes. And then we have a slew of ways to buff our creatures. 4 Shard Mage's Rescue, 4 Feather of Flight to give flying to our non-Wonderweave Aerialist creatures. Or Innkeeper's Talent, just a way to keep power growing, triggers our Optimistic Scavenger. And a lot of flexibility there. More ward, even. 4 Sheltered by Ghosts, removal, hard to beat. Certain decks just cannot beat this card. Another source of ward. Royal Treatment, Hexproof, another source of ward. Honor. Actually, probably one of the best Honor decks I've played. Our creature is very likely to survive, and it's just like 1 mana for a free counter. Draw a card. You know, it's pretty sweet. Our land situation is a little tough. Green-white right now is, you know, in a really bad place as far as mana bases go in Standard. We have 4 Hushwood Verge, which is not like the best land. In this deck, I think it's probably better if this said add white and then green if you control forests or plains, but we'll take what we got. 4 Lush Portico, enters tapped. The Surveilling's kind of nice, actually, but enters tapped. We'll live with it. Not the end of the world. It's really just important to have the fixing here because of our Wonderweave Aerialist and our Hushwood Verges. We need more sources of green that tap for white that turn on our Hushwood Verge to guarantee that we can get a turn 2 Wonderweave Aerialist. 4 Multiversal Passage, 4 Starting Town. That's a light, I believe, 19 lands that we're on, if I have the count correct here. That means we are mulliganing for 1 and 2 landers and basically keeping that. We want a hand. Ideally, our hand is like 2 lands, a Toadstool Admirer, or a Wonderweave Aerialist, an Innkeeper's Talent, maybe some additional layer of protection, and just kind of go nuts with it and present a very early aggressive unanswerable threat. Finally, our sideboard, very straightforward. 4 Soul Guide Lantern, 3 Pawpatch Recruit, 4 Elspeth's Smite, and 4 Origin of Metal Bending. This is the only card from Avatar that we're playing here, but it seems pretty solid in our deck, actually. Naturalize or 1/1 counter and indestructible. I can see that either option coming up quite often. And Pawpatch for like the Dimir matchup. I think they'll have a hard time with us anyway, unless they have probably the biggest Bogeyman. Boogeyman that we will be facing out there, it's in the form of No More Lies. Sorry, not No More Lies. Nowhere to Run. Nowhere to Run might be a problem. Fire Magic might be a problem. The white artifact that exiles all creatures of mana value 2 or less, that might be a problem. But we're going to run it. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we can get under all of that and fly over the big Ouroboros boards. And hopefully it goes well. I'm excited for this one. Excited to play some some quick games, some quick matches. We'll go for a full 5 no matter what. I only tested it once, even though I've played this kind of deck in the past. Right now, I think it's kind of interestingly positioned because these greedy decks that are like all in on this Badger Mole Cub plan, I think are actually pretty vulnerable to flyers. And if we're able to just like suit up a Wonderweave Aerialist and beat them down for like say 4 in the air over a course of a number of turns, we might be able to steal some games. I think we'll mulligan this one. This is okay. This is pretty much the idea that we're going for. Our mana situation is really good. Probably our worst guy to suit up, but not awful. Okay, that's a great draw. Let's just go ahead and lead on the Scavenger. If they're leading on Breeding Pool, I think it's pretty unlikely that they have meaningful main deck interaction. Okay, so it's the Reanimator deck, so I changed my mind on that. But I think we can still go for it and just soup up the Scavenger. Start with a Sheltered by Ghosts. Maybe they hit it with a 3-mana enchantment, enters, destroy target non-creature permanent. I'm so terrible with names. They just exist in little pictures in my mind. Let's start with that. I don't really care if they blow up the Sheltered by Ghosts, I suppose. Get them for 3. They might be faster than us if they just have the turn 4 combo. But we're looking alright right now. So we can go with flying here. I don't think we bother playing the Armadillo. I think we want to hold up the Shard Mage's Rescue in case they have like a Bitter Triumph. They could target Scavenger and pay the ward. Oh. Well, that's actually way better. I think that's way better. Get this online. Bump up the ward. They won't even be able to Bitter Triumph. They can block with the Bookworm, but they don't really have a whole lot going on. I think that's pretty good. I guess I could have put on the counter after combat, or sorry, yeah, leveled up the talent after combat. Whatever. We're not here to critically think about the grand strategy today. We're here to soup up one guy real big and try to see if it's enough right now. Feeling pretty good. No big demon in their graveyard makes me feel pretty good. Highway to the danger zone. Awaken the Honored Dead, that's the name. Feeling pretty good through that still, though. We have Layers of Protection. We can start flying in next turn. Still no demon in their graveyard. Huge for us. Could hit one here on the Bookworm. Nope. Okay. So let's go Feather of Flight and threaten to kill them over the course of the next 2 turns here. Okay, so say they have Bitter Triumph, which they really might. They could pay the Ward 3. I'm going to hold up the Shard Mage's Rescue. It would be unfortunate if they, like, Awaken the Honor Dead the Featherflight, but it's still, like, that's still a beatable play. Maybe we should have Seam Rips in the main. Or in the sideboard. Maybe that's better than the Elspeth Smite. Very cheap removal. I have the Smite in because I'm worried about those, like, red leyline lists. But actually, I wonder if Seam Rip's just better. Clear little blockers like this. Trigger our Optimistic Scavenger. Okay. So you get Arden, which is pretty good. Swing with a big life linking Overlord, perhaps? But I don't... Okay, they're going for Steam Course? No, yeah, you definitely go for Arden, and then you bring back Steam Core Scholar because it has Vigilance. That kind of makes sense to me. So we could draw a Sheltered by Ghosts. We're still at a really healthy life total. Need a Sheltered by Ghosts here to seal the deal. Still just gonna pass. There's a Valgavoth, not ideal. My rank has really suffered lately, and I'm like, I'm trying to fight caring about it at all, because really at my core, the thing I like about Magic is not necessarily winning and being a spike and having a high rank. It's just like I get these ideas for decks and I just really want to see if it works, you know? And oftentimes if I just jam fresh ideas into ranked, it's just not going to end. Like that's not a recipe for a winning record, you know? Make them block here. You can play out some garbage. I don't think there's a reason not to. We have to hold up this Shard Mage's Rescue, I think. Anyway. Still alive to a Sheltered by Ghosts, I think, although Valgavoth from the graveyard looks pretty scary. Taking me off of flying, probably? That makes sense to me. Still, at this point, my scavenger is sufficiently big that I don't think the flying necessarily matters. Here comes Big Daddy. Still at 38 life for me. Wouldn't mind a land to be able to level up the Scavenger's talent. I kind of feel like that would be a decent line. I think it would probably put us in a position where we could make a really, really, really big Optimistic Scavenger and kill their whole board, probably. Okay. Okay, say I swing in with the Scavenger. Got 8 toughness. I can buff it to 10 toughness. And if they block with everything, they lose their Caballero, which is actually fine. But maybe I just buff the Innkeeper's Talent anyway. Is that crazy? I think that's a little crazy. Let's buff the Scavenger and swing. And then we can just hold up putting a counter on the Admirer, I suppose. No need to throw it all away here. Still gaining incredible amounts of life every turn. So are they, if they choose to. Destroying my Innkeeper's Talent, fair enough. Another Bookworm. Innkeeper's Talent of their own, pretty good. Yeah, maybe that'll seal the deal. They just have access to a lot more angles than I do here. Although, they're kind of milling themselves. Not to state the obvious. I wonder if I should play like one Abandoned Air Temple. That could be interesting. Maybe over the Ox. Bump our land count just slightly, and then... I mean, it would look pretty good in this situation. I'm not sure that it would be enough to save us, but... look pretty good. Still pretty much just need a Sheltered by Ghosts. I think if we can Sheltered by Ghosts on the Caballero... that might be enough to help us fight back. Caballero. There's a Sheltered by Ghosts on the Caballero. Yeah, we're all in on this Scavenger. I don't see a reason to do anything else. I see. Okay. Well, they do just have it. They can bring back Caballero and then do the demon thing. Do the dance of the demons, as they call it. Bring in our Soul Guide Lanterns. Take out our Bulwark Ox. Take out some Armadillos. We don't need that many threats, I think. Just trim on the protection, I think. I think you always keep the Sheltered by Ghosts. I think Feathered Flight is really nice. Try it like this. I still believe. I believe in the deck. I think we had a window where we could have won there. Had we drawn correctly. Not a bad hand. Pretty decent hand. Keep this. I think we can get rid of an Admirer. I think we'll be happy to be able to access 3 mana. That's pretty good. Kind of everything coming together here. Lead on the Admirer. Dodge this land. And then we can go Scavenger. Feather Flight? Probably right away. Just go all in. Would love an Innkeeper's Talent, I think. Riddler. Okay. I'm just going to go all in. Soul Guide Lantern. That's a pretty good draw. Sheltered by Ghosts. Nice. Okay, now we just have to cross our fingers and hope they don't do the thing. I mean, we can keep them off of doing the thing. They probably won't have too many sneaky windows where they get to get me through this. Discarding a demon. Fortunately, we have Soul Guide Lantern here. I think we continue to go all in. Presents a pretty tough thing for them to deal with here, unless they have real board wipes. Don't care. Not really sure if they play any real board wipes. Discarding Arden. We have the Soul Guide Lantern. I guess we play a Wonder Weave Aerialist. Swing for 5 in the air. Seems pretty straightforward. Hold up the Royal Treatment, no need to rush it. I guess they could play a Quantum Riddler and have a little blocky block. But we're likely to be bigger than them anyway. Cash grab. That's a sign of desperation. That's weakness. Bookworm. Okay, well they're dead. Sweet. I don't even have to show them the royal treatment. I can just level up the admirer. Pretty good run-ins. Feels good. Feels good. Oh, Harvester of Misery. Could be good on certain boards. I'm kind of glad they showed that to me. Gives me something to think about. All right, on to the next one. Game 3. Tense match. Both trying to do very difficult to interact with things. Fortunately, I pack my trusty 4 of Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah. Run it back. Run it back. I wonder even if just like Paw Patch is better than the Armadillo in the main. I think the Armadillo is nicer when you have an Innkeeper's Talent. It does become pretty tough to deal with. But Paw Patch is just a little more versatile. This is a great hand. Soul Guide Lantern, Armadillo with the Innkeeper's Talent. I think we want to lead on Lush Portico here. Yeah, we'll take an Honor. I think that's pretty good. Okay. I think I'd like to get the Innkeeper's Talent on the field before... I was going to say before I Armadillo, but I think this lines up nicer where I just play the Armadillo, play the Soul Guide Lantern. Except that they just might kill my Soul Guide Lantern. They're stuck on lands. Huge for me. Huge for me. Starting town. Not the worst draw. Let's get the talent going. We can hold up... Actually, you know what? Let's just level up the talent. With the demon in the graveyard, I'm not. There's no world in which I'm not just activating this. So might as well give my armadillo extra ward. Okay. No problem. No problem. Pro tip: if you have a Soul Guide Lantern on the field and that's the only thing in the battlefield on your side, and you sack it in response to the Awakened, Honored, Dead, not the trigger, but the spell on the stack, they have to target something. So sometimes that just leads to them blowing up their own Awakened, Honored, Dead, or a Bookworm, for example. Um, it does come up. Valgavoth. Okay, well, I'm just going to go all in. I think I can beat a Valgavoth. Could be wrong, but I think I can. Maybe not a real 9/9 Valgavoth, but I think I can beat a 4/4 Valgavoth. Caballero. Ward 4 on my Armadillo, officially. Taking me off Sheltered by Ghosts, no problem. I don't think we need to run the second Sheltered by Ghosts onto this Bookworm now. I think we can just... Ooh, I was going to say level up the talent. I think I like leveling up the talent here. This leads to a very, like, difficult to deal with next turn, where I'm generating a million bajillion counters with the Optimistic Scavenger. And it lets me swing with the Scavenger here, put a little more pressure on. Kind of forces them to have something really relevant. Like a real board wipe. A little extra protection for the Scavenger. I think this looks really nice. A lot of relevant stuff in my hand to just kind of kill them next turn. And Armored Armadillo, its ability gives it +7 attack right now. Were I to activate it, could be even more on top of the Innkeeper's talent. So it's really not irrelevant. Kind of a sweet card. Very difficult for the red decks, I think, to deal with, like Armored Armadillo into Sheltered by Ghosts. What do they do? Grabs a land. Could have a board wipe. Would really be very good against us right now. No board wipe. They do not play the board wipes, I suppose. Rex Sage on my talent. Very good. Probably takes us off of the just killing them this turn. I wonder if there's an argument for Sheltered by Ghosts on the Awakened Honored Dead. I think that's not like the worst idea. Keeps them from guaranteeing that they get a Caballero on their turn. Opponent in the tank. Thinking long and hard. Discards a Quantum of Soul Guide Lantern. I mean, yeah, there's not much to think about there. Not much to think about there now. Let's continue to go all in. Hold up the royal treatment. Feeling good. I think that Soul Guide Lantern locks things up real tidy, unless they're on a board wipe. That's like the only thing that can get them out of this now, I think. Very, very likely to just activate the Soul Guide Lantern here. Not much of a reason not to. Once they decide their target, Swarm Weaver. Yeah, just gonna exile their graveyard. They would have to have like a really nutty sequence of events here for anything relevant to happen. Okay. Okay. All right. GG. GG. I have them dead two ways. Swing with the armadillo. Regardless of who they block, I can pump up to six lethal damage. So nice runnings. They got us game 1. Showed off the power of what's going on here. Games 2 and 3. Probably the closest parallel is like the I guess like, yeah, I guess it's kind of close to green white hexproof in modern, except that deck gets a lot more busted. I'm a little more reliant on these effects that like save my creatures. I was gonna say like it plays very similarly to like the, I guess almost in a way the mono red leyline decks, except those decks are really just trying to kill you on turn 3, whereas I don't think this deck can kill you on turn 3, but it can put the game out of reach for our opponent on turn 3. You know what I mean? Just like presenting them with a very, very difficult to deal with threat. Good show. Match 1. On to match 2. 1-0. Great hand. Gonna keep it. Lead on the Toadstool Admirer here. He's the guy that we want to buff, so we'll lead on him. He's just admiring. Come on, just this little guy? Come on, you wouldn't touch this little guy. I think I'm just gonna honor this little guy. Okay. And then I can play the Scavenger second main. That's not a problem. We didn't really have like a relevant enchantment follow-up for the Scavenger. I guess you could maybe argue Shard Mage's Rescue holding it up, but I think this line paid off quite nicely. They're going to have a hard time with this Innkeeper's Talent if they don't take it, but I think they have to take the Shelter by Ghosts. Kind of depends on what sort of effects they're playing in their main. I think probably our worst matchup, if we run into it, is like the black-white Pixie list, but that's really fallen out of favor. I guess the blue people are playing that like blue-black bounce list, which also is on Nowhere to Run and the Sacrifice one. I don't know where my brain goes. I can only focus on the cards in front of me here. But the combination of like negating our hexproof / ward and forcing us to sacrifice a creature, like that's all pretty good. Now they could have Long Goodbye, which would be quite nice. But we go all in. Let's go ahead and put a counter on the Scavenger. Spread some love here in case they have Long Goodbye or some kind of relevant single target removal. If they're on Unstoppable Slasher with the Demon, if they're on that combo, that could be a little tough for us to deal with, but we might just be faster than that anyway. If we commit to chump blocking. Okay, another Admirer is a pretty good draw here, actually. I'm gonna go with the Feather of Flight. Maybe we draw a land. Okay, we do. That's nice. So now we're in a position where we're really, really likely to just kill them over the course of a couple turns. So I think we just hold up the Shard Mage's Rescue. Oh, I think we want this on green, actually. So we hold up the Royal Treatment, swing for 5 in the air. And now they, like... Basically what this is going to do is if they have the Demon line, it forces them to block with the Demon. Yeah. So we'll block here. We might as well kill off the Slasher. So we can, like, Royal Treatment here. Give him the extra ward. Give the Scavenger a 1/1 counter. Present a lethal attack that they know about. But we also get the benefit of holding up the Shard Mage's Rescue. Oh. Okay, well... They wanted to die. I suppose they wanted to die. Cool. A little bit of a weird ending. Good game 1. Nice and clean. I think we want our smites actually seem kind of good. Let's bring in a couple. I think it could catch them off guard. Maybe cut a... Ox seems okay. Cut a little of... I guess cut a couple honors. Alright, like that. Do we want the Paw Patch recruits? Maybe I'm gonna bring in a couple tentative Origin of Metal bendings in case the Indestructible is relevant. Alright, like that, maybe. Also, we could just, like, kill an Unholy Annex. Not really where I want to be, but I'm wondering if maybe they're on some amount of board wipes. I guess realistically, they're probably playing the new Black Sun, double black, and X board wipe, where all creatures lose all abilities, so maybe the Hexproof isn't even relevant, and maybe that card, if that comes up, will absolutely decimate us. I guess the best we can do against that is just play out one creature at a time and maybe rely on Innkeeper's talent. A lot to think about. Game 2. Match 2. Waiting on my opponent. Really, really good hand. This is, aside from the Bulwark Ox, which looks maybe a little awkward here, pretty much the perfect hand. Could have a stab here. Maybe we do lead on the Bulwark Ox, and then we get to crew or saddle with the aerial list, which could, like, give us a way to block. Give us a way to block a slasher? I guess if they play the slasher, I can't really swing in with the ox. Makes sense to lead on the ox. They might not have a slasher. They could just kill this. Not the end of the world. Sure. We can sacrifice the creature to counter this. So they don't get the enchantment side. With the extra aerialist, I think we are allowed to play it before the talent now. Force them to have relevant removal for this. They'd have to go land stab, probably, unless they have long goodbyes in their sideboard. Wouldn't mind a third land. Okay, nice. Would have preferred a forest. But we'll take what we got here. I think we just need to get the talent online. I think that's the most important thing. Protects the aerialist through stab. Sets us up to play a second aerialist with royal treatment up next turn. And you know we... I guess we just block Luis. Take 2. Gonna take him a while to get back down to flipping territory. Send in for 4. Maybe should have thought about buffing the second aerialist, but I actually like that this is a bit more aggressive. Hold up the royal treatment. Not exactly sure what it's saving them from this time, but maybe they'll swing in with Luis and I can kind of get him. Nowhere to run. Okay. Smart. Seems good. Let's just do a royal treatment on the aerialist here. And then now let's put the counter on this second area, this third aerialist here. Swing in for 5. We have good blocks. We have another royal treatment to save this third aerialist if we need it. And if they swing with Cecil, I think we can get them on the backswing with lethal with our Shard Mage's Rescue royal treatment combo. No blocks. Cecil doing a lot of work for us here. Okay, I think we got him. I'm not sure that there's a whole lot they can do here other than maybe long goodbye. Oh, I guess nowhere to run. Right. Nowhere to run means I can't give it hexproof. No problem. Continue to go in. Yeah, that's what one of the reasons Seam Rip might be a good option for us. Play an Admirer, play an Armadillo. Depending on what they do here, we could once again present lethal. Like if they swing out, I guess they get to flip the Cecil. Maybe I'm playing a little too quickly, not really considering everything here. It's a lot of like tight decisions where I place these Innkeeper's Talent counters really matters and their exact life total. It feels right to just keep swinging in, but actually I think them flipping the Cecil here might be a little problem. I guess maybe if they don't swing with Luis, it's less of a problem. They have to have removal for the aerialist now, which is pretty likely. But maybe there's a world where I can force them to block with their Cecil. Say I like Shard Mage's Rescue the Armadillo. Draw a land, and then this gives me enough mana to buff it for a lethal attack. Not doing anything anyway into this Nowhere to Run. No land. Do get to block the Cecil forever. I mean, we're gonna go for it, you know? Make them remove it. Okay. Let's level up the talent. I think I like the idea of being able to fully level it up. Grind this one out that way. Stab. Maybe should have thought about stabbing my Armadillo. Unless they have another piece of removal here. Just kill me. Okay. Nowhere to run. Kind of a problem. Let's think about getting some seam rips in this deck, and also let's bring in the all 4 Origin of Metal Bending. I think that'll be a pretty important change here. The Smites look pretty good against them. We'll leave in a couple, catch them off guard that way. Maybe go down to Sheltered by Ghosts. I know I said that thing about never cutting it, but if they're on 4, say they're on 4 Nowhere to Run, right? Not doing a whole lot for us. Gave it a good try. I think because they had like a threat and just so much removal that well, and the Nowhere to Run. Had they not had the Nowhere to Run, I think that was like an easy dub for us, but they had the card that I said at the top of the video was going to be a problem. Not every deck is running it though. I think this is a keep. Innkeeper's Talent seems really important. Just surveil into a land. Okay. Would love a land. Scavenger and hold up. Okay. Lush Portico, we'll take it. Do I jam? A little crazy to jam, maybe. I don't think I'm allowed to jam, because if they just stab it... Not feeling too good about that. But there are ways I can, like, fight through a... Let's just go with the talent here. There are ways I can fight through a Nowhere to Run, even. ANX. Okay, they're taking a lot of damage. Taking a lot of damage here, actually. Huge Optimistic Scavenger could be the play. So, yeah, we go with Optimistic Scavenger. Put on a counter. Hold up one of our protection spells. Gets us out of Nowhere to Run range. They'd have to have, like, Nowhere to Run into stab. Or stab into Nowhere to Run, I suppose. Or stab into stab. Make them use their removal here. Okay. Just double removal, no problem. Armadillo. They're getting pretty low. I think I'm just going to present 2 bodies. And I think buffing the armadillo makes a little more sense, because it's a lot more resilient to nowhere to run. Could make a demon here, that would be a problem. There's a demon. Flip their Cecil, also kind of a problem. Sheltered by Ghosts would be a nice draw. Royal Treatment. How do we live? If I go like Feather of Flight on my armadillo. No, Feather of Flight on Bloodletter. Draw a land, hold up. Well, I guess I don't even need a land in this scenario. I think I'm still living here. Feather of Flight. Sheltered by Ghosts. Kind of nice. No reason to put the counter on that Admirer. It's dead anyway. I have to chump. Hope they have absolutely nothing. Could just play another Unholy Annex. I'd be dead to that. Oh. That won't quite do it. Oh, yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. Bloodletter. Okay, GG's. Kind of a tough matchup. A lot more interactive than... Are they just like waiting for me to scoop? Don't be a douchebag. I'm sorry. Come on. Tough matchup. A lot of removal. Nowhere to run. Still, 1-1 overall could be a good... Could be a nice clean 4-1 still. Let's put it that way. Against Nib, the notorious Irish bastard. I don't know. That was just the first thing off the top of my head. I've nothing against the good people of Ireland. Beautiful country. Yeah, we'll keep this. A little risky. If we play it slow, shouldn't be too bad. Wouldn't mind a 3rd land, I think. Second creature or a 3rd land. Get the scavenger going. Summon Fenrir. Another scavenger's kind of nasty. Yeah, I think with this hand we'll take another land even. Okay, no reason to be silly. Hold up our Shard Mage's Rescue. Dinosaur. Overlord. I think I'm just gonna go for the Shard Mage's Rescue here. I get to put 2 counters on this 1 scavenger and block, and then Sheltered by Ghosts and swing for 1,000,000. I guess let's lead on the Honor. I was hoping to draw a... Let's pretend we have protection here. Hoping to draw a another protection spell, but this will do just fine. I still don't think there's any reason not to just go all in on this one, because we have the flight in hand. And likely all of their removal is damage based anyway. Unless they have main deck board wipes. I'm just thinking they're on like Overlord of the Boiler Biggles. Dragon. Random encounter. Not going to be good enough. I respect the hustle though. GG's. Respect the hustle. I myself love a random encounter deck. Haven't done one on my channel yet, but you can rest assured one will be coming. Guess I'll just show them another Sheltered by Ghosts. They don't need to know I have Veil Flight quite yet. Nice. Okay, what could they have that is quite good against us? Probably like Fire Magic could be decent. I think that's just something we need to play around and not necessarily something we can board for, so I think we just run it back. There are a lot of decks I want to build right now. I'm kind of thinking of investing some real money into Arena. It's hard to bring myself to do that, but with the pace at which I'm releasing these videos, and the kinds of ideas that I just have, it really makes me want to get some wild cards, you know. I think we mulligan this. I don't think it does anything. One creature, one land, one keep, as the great sage himself says. It's not bad. It's really good if I draw a land. But I don't need a whole lot to win, so maybe I mulligan this too. Yeah, this is pretty good. I like the ox, but our armadillo can't actually crew it, Natty. Maybe we do something like this. Hope we draw another little dingus to crew the ox. Not the best hand, but okay, that's pretty good. Third land. I think you're supposed to take third land. Let's just do more on our third turn. You could make the argument maybe that you don't even play the ox here. You could play the admirer, hold up the rescue. Because if they just kill the ox, then I'm like pretty dead in the water. But now this lets me hold up rescue along the way. And then Sheltered by Ghosts on curve. Smuggler's Surprise. They could have like a big random encounter situation. Just kill me. Wouldn't be against that. Gotta hold up the removal, or the protection. Swing in for one. Not a whole lot doing here. Could make a very large admirer if we draw like an innkeeper's talent, and we'd have a lot of protection, layers of protection for that. Okay, not a whole lot of action on their end. That bodes well for us, I'd say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Could just be relying on flashing back this Innkeeper's Talent here. Ooh. Now the Aerialist is sweet. Aerialist is really sweet. If I'm going to buff something, I'd like to buff the Aerialist. But I think I have to, like... I guess let's see what we're getting off the Lush Portico. Okay. I'd rather not give up the Ox. Maybe I just play the Aerialist and pass. Maybe I need to... Yeah, let's just play the Aerialist and pass here. Or maybe we can give up the Ox. Yeah, let's give up the Ox. Denies them a future card if they block here. No blocks. Deal. Deal. Could just be dead to random encounter. But I think having this flying aerialist with a sheltered by ghosts with extra protection. Nope. We're pretty much super dead. Pretty much super dead. $17. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess I'm not. Oh, I am technically quite dead if they just swing out. I was gonna say if they don't swing with the dinguses. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, they did it. Not much I can do about that. Not much I can do about that. Run it back. Had to mold a 5. Not even a great 5. Hopefully we get a little luckier on the play. Close. If we had a plains, this would be a snap keep. Awkward. Gotta go to 5. Okay, pretty good. Let's just keep our good cards here. Although the Ox looks kind of good right now. Yeah, let's do something like this. I don't think I want the third land in this situation. I'll take it if it's on top, but I'd hate to draw 2 in a row here. Just gotta jam the Ox. Hope they don't have anything. They're probably, honestly, not on a whole lot of removal if they're all in on this. Random encounter plan. Fenrir. Would love to see a land now, actually. Now that we have this optimistic scavenger, we could go play the scavenger. Okay, huge. Play the scavenger, give flying to our Ox, and like present a pretty real clock here. I'm not going to play around anything. I'm just going to try to kill him. Leaves it vulnerable to Overlord of the Boiler Bilges, I guess. Haven't seen that yet. I don't think distributing the counters would change our likelihood of winning here. I think mulliganing to 5, we pretty much have no choice but to go all in. Very coin flippy deck, I will say. Like, we either kind of have it all or we don't. Not my typical style. In that way, it's very similar to the mono red leyline deck. But if they don't have anything, then we're doing it. Then we're doing it. Spinewood's Armadillo. Sick tech for this deck. I love all the cards that like cycle for lands. This is the best of them because it also gains you 3 life. And it's also just, so it helps you get up to your random encounter. Relevant creature hit. Ooh. Yeah. We just play it all. Doesn't really matter what we do with this. Nothing to hold up here. Let's start buffing a second flyer, I suppose. And maybe leave back a single blocker. Seven. I guess we can let the Optimistic Scavenger die. I think we need to go all in here to be able to present lethal. Do the math real quick. 7 puts them to 11, and then we're swinging in for a guaranteed 11 in the air next turn, assuming nothing changes. So we can leave the Scavenger there. They don't get a draw. They kind of have to win big on a random encounter here. See if they do. They hit a Galta, but is that enough? I guess it is. I guess it is. I mean, I still get to block, but I think 19. No, yeah, this is lethal. All right. All right, fair enough. Jeez Louise. Hey, what can you do? Get random encountered, you know? 1 and 2 overall. 86%. Trying out ideas. Let's make a quick modification. Not that it was particularly relevant there, but I kind of feel like we want to think about our seam rip idea. Just try a couple seam rips for a couple smites. And jump into round 4. Hopefully we can clean up a decent 3-2. I think got a little unlucky on that one. Did our best. Had to mold a 5 twice. Just got random encountered. And that's what the deck's trying to do, you know? What was that? Turn 4? Guess kind of feels like more and more these days Standard is just like, I said this in the last video, Standard is just like 2 players competing to do their most like busted thing by turn 4. Kind of very much how Modern used to be, but the interaction is a lot less powerful in Standard. So I think because we don't have like Thoughtseize, you know what I mean, to keep these really busted, like I have the perfect synergy start hands from like just exploding and winning outright, basically. Rather than having a deck that is, or having a format where interaction really reigns supreme and keeps all of these busted things in check, like Force of Will and Legacy, etc., etc. We have a format where it's just like a bunch of ships passing in the night almost. Kind of a classic conundrum. Not the best hand here. Lead on a Toadstool Admirer. Kind of a classic conundrum when it comes to formats. A lot of powerful proactive cards, not many powerful reactive cards. Okay, all dressed up. I think we just go for it. Hope we draw kind of nuts next turn. Thea Flight would be really ideal. Thea Flight into like a protection spell. Riddler, interesting. They must be stumbling on lands here. There's not a world in which I block this, so they probably could have swung. Shard Mage's Rescue, pretty good. I think we just got to get aggro. Play an Armadillo. Guess we swing with all of them. I'm just gonna go all in on this one admirer here. I'll just play this tapped. It's okay, I think, if they know I don't really have anything. I'd rather save the 2 life than, I think, make a bluff there. They're not likely on any removal anyway. I guess this could be the allies list, like the Aang combo. Okay. They have enough mana to pay for my ward here. Oh, but they don't have the mana to also cast Aang. Can't really do it all. They could play an Appa. They could airbend my Armadillo. That's not the end of the world. Let's just get a little extra damage in while we can. Or try to. Appa. Yep. Okay, nice solid hit there. Once again, Fey Flight would be a really nice draw. Could just go in. I wonder if there's like a blue enchantment that gives him unblockable. Maybe you're just supposed to play Bant. That'd be kind of interesting. Not a great draw. What's our line to win? We go like I guess we need to present multiple flying attackers. Hold back the land here. Probably out of reach. An enchantment that gives unblockable. I think there's got to be a blue one right now. Would pair really nicely. The extra blue would not be an issue really. As far as our mana base is concerned, we're already running all of these multicolor lands. Searching for Doc Orlock. The good doctor has arrived. Ang, swift savior. Oh, this is the combo. They have it. Okay, scoop it up. Scoop it up. If you're not aware, they just like they make infinite allies, but also more than that, if they have more of a board, they can like infinitely airbend stuff, which just means they get to play out their whole deck basically. And if they do that, they kill you. Bring in a couple seam rips. Take out the Ox, take out Hmm. Take out an armadillo. Hope we just get a nutty hand. Hope we get a... Like, if we get the nutty start, even if it's just, like, Toadstool guy into Innkeeper's Talent, there's not, like, a whole lot they can do about that. I mean, this is a good hand. I think this will really showcase Wonderweave Aerialist's ability to shine and be a very, like, fast, aggressive, resilient sort of threat. Third land is fine. Play the Aerialist. Hub. Okay. Innkeeper's Talent, nice. I think we just go all in. Because they'll be at 4 mana. They'd have to have like a Seam Rip, I suppose. Let's just go all in. They could be on Seam Rip. Why does this Power and Toughness look so messed up? Why is it blue? I guess this is blue. Oh, because it's got adjusted Power and Toughness, but it's like the thickness of the edge around the numerals. Really weird. Nature's Rhythm for 2. Going big mana. Big mana plays. Could just have the combo. Could just be comboing me. Wouldn't mind a Sheltered by Ghosts. Okay. I guess we go all in. Guess we swing with both of them. Spread the love a little bit. Maybe I should have made the Scavenger bigger there. Kind of at a point where if they just have like flying blockers like this guy, things get a little awkward. Maybe I need to be on Melstrider's Resolve. Maybe that's the key to all of this. Just one more way to combat these decks where my creatures are really, really sufficiently big. I think that was like one of the whole reasons I was on this deck in the first place, and I completely forgot to put it in the deck. So I'm gonna put those in after this. I think Melstrider's Resolve is a good, clean answer. It's another form of evasion, and another way to fight them real nice. Really powerful against these creature decks. Kind of like Sheltered by Ghosts 4 through 8, almost. Better than Seam Rip, probably, in a lot of cases. Wouldn't mind a Feather of Flight here for my Scavenger. No such luck. I guess we go... Well, I'm definitely swinging. Play an Armadillo. Maybe I put the counter on. Nah, I gotta put the counter on the Scavenger here. Swing with both of them. Force them to block. They just need Appa, and they're kind of off to the races. And they have Nature's Rhythm, which they can cast for... They're blocking with Aang. Okay. Kind of surprised they would choose to block with that Aang and not... What do they have? Giving up both their flyers. And level up the Innkeeper's talent. Do they just have it anyway? Like, that seemed like kind of a weird block to me. Maybe they were afraid of Overprotect. Maybe I should be on Overprotect instead of Origin of Metal Bending. I'm not sure. There's a lot of choices here. Still not really sure on the perfect list, obviously. This is test run number 1. I could see myself giving this another go. I think there's a lot of power here. Just need to figure out the like, I think our creature core is quite good. Just need to figure out the best, like, supporting players. They hit an Appa, which means they have infinite dudes. Which means they win. Okay. Yeah, they win. Dang, dude. Strong deck. Pretty strong deck. I think Badgermole Cub is very nice. I think it would be a good deck without Badgermole Cub, but the fact that Badgermole Cub is just like so free to play, and it just gives you these, come on people, it just gives you these busted starts. Let's get some Melstrider's Resolves in. I think I'd like to see it in place of, let's cut the 1 Ox. Let's cut an Armadillo. Let's go 2 in the main and 2 in the side. I'm already here. Okay. Oop. I think it really lines up nicely in these creature matchups. Probably go down the Smites. We haven't brought in Paw Patch at all. But we would bring in Paw Patch against Dimir. Maybe I should just be on Paw Patch in the main. Maybe it's just a much higher card quality. It's got much higher card quality compared to the Armadillo. Not the most resilient, but another good supporting player. Clears up some sideboard room for us. Go down on 1 resolve here. I think I like the resolve though. Go down 1 honor. And then we can play what would be good against those combo lists? Instant speed removal. I don't think we can afford to play split up. Elusive Otter is interesting. Beastbinder is really interesting, actually. Beastbinder would be very, very good. I don't think Silent Hall Creeper is where we want to be, but Beastbinder would be very, very good. Cryptic Coat is interesting. Maybe we're supposed to think about splashing blue for Beastbinder. I don't think Gossip's Talent seems bad. It's just a lot higher card quality. Keeps their Badger Moles in check. Maybe an extra color would be tough. Cut the planes, just play. Go all in on non-basics. I think there's something to this. I just wonder if there's maybe a better solution before we splash another color. I think a most helpful Weaver is kind of an interesting consideration. Like, Double Strike closes out a lot of games. It's another enchantment. Let's try one of these out. See if maybe like a flying Double Strike is just enough. Try a couple of these. Cut an Honor. Cut a Resolve. Go to 3 Resolves in the side. We're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. Maybe we think about some Overprotects. I think the Trample is like kind of an interesting idea. That seems to be the difference in a lot of our matches, is like they just get to... It's not a bad idea. I've tried this out before. It's okay. Three, 2, and Trample for 2. That's kind of cool. And it comes on a body. Maybe this is my guy. I kind of feel like having access to Trample is really nice. This is pretty nice too. Kind of similar to the Maelstrider's Resolve. Another source of Trample. Another source of card advantage when it's relevant. Maybe we try a couple of these out. And just become full-on enchantment pile. Cut the Honors. They've been playing okay, but I like the idea of Hunter's Talent. I think it gives us a little more play. Maybe that's crazy. Are there any other like cares about enchantment cards? Unflinching Courage, yo. From downtown? A little too expensive. Eerie. No. I guess you would also get Gremlin Tamer if you splash blue, but then you're really kind of doing something else. Yeah, let's try it like this. Yeah, let's try it like this. Go into, did I fill up the sideboard again? Yeah. Go into our 5th match. Sorry for the brief sidetrack there. You know, when you're testing, you gotta iterate. You gotta... The first version of the deck is never going to be perfect. Sometimes it's quite good. Sometimes cards just work together. Like that allies list that's seeing some play. That's just like all creatures. Like, hey, sometimes I guess if you just put all of the allies together, you get something kind of decent. No creatures. Got to mulligan this. This could be good. Not much of a choice here. One rabbit and a prayer. Okay. Yep, gonna take that. White Lotus Hideout for lessons. They could counter. They have like a quench here. I think I'm gonna lead on a talent. Rather feed the talent into the quench with how light of a creature start we're on. Well, I'm definitely just gonna go for the paw patch here then. They could have another quench. That's my karma, I suppose. They have quenched me. Curious to see what they're doing. Excited. Little teamer lesson. Storm Splitter. What does this card even do? Go! Spider! Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a token that's a copy of this creature, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Okay. We're going in on the talent. Hold up a Shard Mage's Rescue. Swinging in. Beat that. Beat my 4/3 Spider. Next turn we get to Hunter's Talent. Okay, they're setting up their little combo board here. Kind of feels like they ran out the Storm Splitter a little early. Melstrider's Resolve. Double Strike on my Spider. Not much of a need to fight the Enduring Vitality here, I think. Get to swing in for quite a lot. We're all in on the little spider. The little spider that could. Another Storm Splitter. I kind of can't help but feel perhaps my opponent is not making the wisest choices here. They've shown me everything. So if I go... I mean, if I just fight here, they're dead. Not much doing. Could just give it flying, I suppose. Cool. Not a great draw for our opponent, but also a little weird. Kind of... I'm gonna guess they're on, like... Accumulate Wisdom. I'm gonna bring in a couple Soul Guide Lanterns, and then... Probably more creature removal seems decent if they're going to play like that. I don't know. Feather of Flight seems pretty good. The Hunter's Talent looked good there. Probably go down some rescues and treatments. I don't know if that's necessarily correct, but they probably don't have too much interaction. Food Cat 08. Snapkeep, by the way. Kind of has everything. Just going in on the Aerialist. I have a feeling this will survive. Ward 2, pretty strong. Abandon Attachments. Seems good for their little combo situation here. Just gonna play a Soul Guide Lantern. And pay for a quench. Don't really think it matters what we hit there. I'm gonna... Is it crazy to just go for like a Melstrider's Resolve? Maybe. Maybe I just hit him for 2. Play out a Toadstool Admirer. Would love an Innkeeper's Talent. Probably the best card in our deck. Gran on the field. Maybe should have responded with activating the Soul Guide Lantern. I think I'd rather respond to an Accumulate Wisdom, though. You can fight my grandmother. Sheltered by Ghosts is probably better, though. Sneak this in while we can. Kind of force their Accumulate Wisdom here if they want. Eat your graveyard. Fight your grandmother. Be a general terror on the population. Not gonna play the Resolve. Gonna kind of maybe pretend I have Protection Spell. No Toadstool either. Maybe you could argue playing the Resolve's okay. Combustion Technique. Okay, well they did not account for double ward. So kind of goofed here. They paid for 1, a little bit of an extra goof on top. Maybe not the cleanest game from FoodCat08. And they scoop it up. Okay. 2 and 3 overall. Gonna keep playing, because I think we've landed on an iteration that has a lot more interaction, which I think actually you kind of need right now. So I think this idea of like souping up a big guy and swinging in and letting that be enough maybe is not realistic, but with having these big guys, things like Melstrider's Resolve and Hunter's Talent become really viable forms of interaction that also like enhance our game plan. Playing against Boone. Konnichiwa, Boone. Ohayou gozaimasu. This is a good hand. Os. Good hand. Wife and I took a little trip to Japan a couple months ago. Been studying Japanese for a few years, maybe a little over a few years. It's fallen off a little bit since I got back, but I think we'll probably plan to go again next year, and that'll give me a reason to keep studying. Just a little, play the aerialist. I don't know. It's like I studied to lead up to this trip, and then the trip was over, and now it's like, what do I have to study for? Other than I've invested all this time, They're gonna find it difficult to deal with the aerialist. Okay, fine. Not a huge deal. We have a second one, thankfully. Hitting me for 2. Ooh. Now that's a good draw. Oh, I should have played the starting town. Blunder count. Alright. No need to compound one mistake with another. Just keep it cool. Got distracted with my Japan trip talk. Had a beautiful time though. Got to meet a lot of people. Got to meet up with my pen pal that I've been in touch with for a couple years. Um, Visit his hometown and meet for the first time. Really, pretty exciting stuff. Okay, little mouse action here, going all in. Sheltered by Ghosts is going to be quite good. Quite good. Be really nice if we got to double spell. Unfortunately, we will not be allowed to do that. Just going to eat up the token here. The double strike is a bit of a problem, but I'd rather not, reward them for dealing with the aerialist if they can. Not a big deal. If they have, a 5th land shock, they could pay for the ward twice. This kind of disincentivizes them from doing that, even if it could be a decent play right now anyway. Deal with the aerialist while they have an opening to be able to, but otherwise the aerialist might just take over the game. Could use an Innkeeper's talent. Imidon's Recruiter. Interesting. These are not mice. We'll take 4 here. No problem. Ooh, baby. Yeah. It's Innkeeper's talent. So let's buff the aerialist, swing in, and then use the Hunter's talent post-combat. Gives us a little extra damage. Take out the double strike guy. It's feeling good. It's feeling good. I'm just going to keep playing matches and go on a huge win streak, so the 3 losses in the beginning look really negligible in comparison. I don't even know if I block here. I don't think it matters. I guess I'll block 1. Not a whole lot that the second one is doing. I'd really like to get the Innkeeper's talent leveled up, I think. I guess they're just dead next turn. Not a whole lot they can do about the aerialist. Yeah. Alright. GG's. Getting some quick ones in. Moving into game 2 of match 6. Could even things up with a nice 3-3 overall. Have some good answers. Melstrider's Resolve looks really good in this matchup. Take out probably some Shard Mage's Rescues and Royal Treatments. Probably cut 1 Feather of Flight, seems okay. I think this is a really ideal matchup for us. A lot of positives. Sheltered by Ghosts is just so strong here. They may bring in some seam rips of their own. Okay, this is a good hand. We're only on double green, but as far as a double green hand goes, this is not bad. And if we draw... Okay, it got even better. If we draw a Lush Portico or Plains, this opens everything up really nicely. They're off to a pretty quick start. They're going to have a huge advantage being on the play here. Sheltered by Ghosts is a great draw. Let's just go all in on this Admirer. We're not going to block, so we might as well swing. Hope we draw a white source. Starting Town won't do it right now. Sheltered by Ghosts on my talent. Fair enough. Whisker Veil Forerunner. When it becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature with mana value 3 or less. Put it on the battlefield if it's your turn. Or put it in your hand. Interesting. Another Innkeeper's Talent. Well, I suppose we play another Innkeeper's Talent and hold up blocks. Because at this point, I think I would trade my challenger in. Sorry, my admirer in for their challenger, if it felt like there was a window to do so. Third land. Do they have Mabel, their namesake? Not namesake, but, you know, the character they're playing here. Okay, exercise my Innkeeper's Talent. Shock themselves. Are they offering the trade? I mean, I'm gonna block. Oh, they're offering a hired claw as well. Interesting. So if I take 4, say I block the claw, I take 4, I go to 4. I have to draw a white source. But if I block the challenger, I get my Innkeeper's Talent back. I can buff my recruit. I go to 7, which is not nearly as bad. I feel like this is a little less risky. Okay. I get to play a recruit. Get to buff it. Hold up a royal treatment here, which would make it big enough to block a hired claw. 4 mana. Emberheart Challenger. Probably have like a lightning helix also, unless they shocked to be able to feed one of their hired claws here. Okay, so I'm dead to a lightning helix. I guess I'm gonna make them. They're probably gonna activate a hired claw here. Okay, yep. So I get to keep my paw patch alive. Now if I draw a white source, I'm kind of back in it. Hey, ooh, a little white source action. Don't mind if I do. Feeling pretty good about that. 6/4. Built a little tank here. Ward 3. 6/4 trample. Lifelink. Where's your screaming nemesis now, red decks, red aggro decks? Bet you wish you had a screaming nemesis now. No offense, Boone. You're cool. You're doing a cool mouse thing, but I do not miss screaming nemesis. 3 and 3 overall. Okay. Gotta play at least one more, I think. Give ourselves the chance for a nice solid 4 and 3 finish. These matches are relatively quick. Pretty fun too. When it works, it feels pretty good. And it kind of feels like I have a fighting chance in every matchup at least. Against Robibius. Okay. I mean, this is what we signed up for. Would love a little more like an Innkeeper's Talent or an Optimistic Scavenger instead of one of these lands, but I think we keep this. Llanowar Elves. Ooh. Now that's a way to win the game. I'm going to lead on the Admirer in case I really feel compelled to Shelter by Ghosts on turn 2, but I actually think I'm much more likely to just play the Aerialist. They're stuck on mana. So if they go like tap tap, cub the land, they have access to 2 more mana. But if that's all they have and I just Shelter by Ghost the cub, they're actually quite a bit behind. I'm going to offer up my Toadstool Admirer. Play the Aerialist. Play the Starting Town next turn. Play the Starting Town next turn. They have a second land. Not too many cards in hand. Is this... Are we against random encounter again? Did Saffron Olive play a random encounter deck list recently? Let's take them off of the Mana Source here. Swing in for 3. Starting to accumulate some life, which is actually really nice and relevant here. Another summon Fenrir. Not the end of the world. No blocks. Going to invest... I think I'm going to invest a Shard Mage's Rescue into the Aerialist here. Just as a bit of a tempo play. We can get another flyer online. Put that away. Or... Actually, I think it's more important to buff the Aerialist again because that way they don't get a draw off the Summon Fenrir. Okay, Scavenger's great. A little late, but we'll still take it. Hard to beat a 5/3 Ward 4 flyer with lifelink. Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Not going to be quite enough here. No blocks. Play the Scavenger. I could make the Aerialist into a 9 power creature. Probably not necessary at this point. I guess what we want to do, let's put 1 buff on this in case they do get a in case they do draw a random encounter. I want to play around removal, I suppose. I could probably get away with going for the royal treatment this, like, right now. Keep them off of drawing another card. They're really not likely to have anything that kills this, I suppose. And keeps them off of a draw. Gives it hexproof for the turn. Yeah. Yeah, I think that was okay. I don't know. They might just not have had anything anyway. Okay, I think this is another Melstrider's resolve matchup, just to keep them off of their early ramp creatures. Probably can go down some rescues and treatments. Not the most interactive deck that we're playing against here. Yeah, maybe like that. Feeling good, feeling powerful. Feeling powerful and strong. Happy with this version that we settled on for now. Probably still more iterating to do, but it's felt pretty powerful in these last few matchups. Let's go ahead and mulligan this. Still really haven't seen Paw Patch Recruit shine. I guess a little bit in that mouse matchup, but it could have been any creature in that position. I guess the fact that it has trample is really nice. Definitely keeping this. Put back. Put back a Lush Portico. Just go turn 1, Admirer, turn 2, Light or Ghosts. Off to the races. They had to mulligan a 5. Yikes. I kind of like the double layers of protection here. So if they have like a shock effect or anything like that. Now this is like a ward 4 that they have to deal with. I guess they could have fire magic, but either of these cards would have been bad into fire magic. We can't live in fear. Okay, land is not bad. Let's get our guy flying. Innkeeper's Talent's really nice. We'll play our first rabbit. Not much of a reason to hold anything back in this matchup. Build your own Baneslayer. Actually, I think I'm allowed to block here. Keeps them off of drawing a card. I think really the only way I lose this matchup is if they like either fire magic my guy or draw into like a big nasty random encounter. Ward 5. Sorry, Ward 5. Still dies to still dies to a burst lightning. Pay 5 mana. No longer dies to a 1 mana fire magic. Okay, I like the area list here. Just an added layer of redundancy. I think we can play a rabbit. Maybe you could make the argument that like if fire magic is their only out, then playing another rabbit, it might be better to like hold back the rabbit. But I kind of really think the way these decks are built, their only out is just like casting a big random encounter. So we might as well add another blocker to the board. All right. 4 and 3 overall. Kind of bringing it back. Kind of bringing it back from the pits of sadness. And so we started out 1 and 3. We've won the last 3 matches in a row. Let's go ahead and play one more. Why not? I'm having fun with it now. And they're pretty quick. But we'll make this the last one. Either way, we could end 4 and 4 or 5 and 3, which is like a pretty reasonable win-loss percentage. Deck does some powerful stuff. Yeah, haven't really we've run into a lot of weird matchups. Maybe it's something about the rank I'm at right now, where we're seeing less meta and more brews. This is a keep. I think we just get rid of a second Hushwood Verge and hope they don't have interaction here. Just go in on a Scavenger. Okay, I hope this is the blue-green go wide, and we get to sort of showcase some of the power of this list. Against one of the more meta decks. I love these sleeves. Ugh. Where'd you get those? Festering Gulch. Yo! Oh, it's the combo deck. Okay, sweet. I'm excited to play against this one. This is the Bloodghast Hunter's Talent. Nice. This is the Bloodghast Beifong's Mercenaries? Is that what it's called? Combo list where they use the desert to get infinite land drops and just kill you, basically. Not the best way to describe it, but that's how it plays out. I played a version of this on stream in one of my videos, but this seems like more of the sort of tuned like meta list that won a challenge, I believe. Yeah, we just sheltered by ghosts. The elf, keep them off of mana. And then we can give it trample next turn to seal the deal. Nice. Okay. Hey, sometimes this just gets there, right? Sometimes this just gets there. They're trying to do a big uninteractive combo thing. I'm also going to do that and hopefully seal up this first game. Not a whole lot they can do to recover here. Okay. Yep, should have it. Nice. Yeah, Hunter's Talent looking like a really good addition for this list. Just one more form of evasion. Nice. A good, clean, quick one. They need their graveyard to combo off. Gonna bring in the Soul Guide Lanterns. I think Melstrider Resolve, once again, looks really good here. Seam Rip hits everything, pretty much. They might bring in some interaction, but we can go down on some of our saving spells. Probably cut, yeah, just trim a little of the more expensive stuff, I think. I don't know that Feather Flight's that good. They obviously, like, have a lot of stuff on the ground, and the flight aspect is nice, but we probably don't need a ton. We don't, like, they're not that aggressive, so we actually have time to just kill them by swinging in over and over. And it's, I think, just more important to keep them off of the combo than to worry about, especially in this game too, where they're on the play. Keep them off of the combo instead of worrying about flying over everything. As long as we have, like, lifelink. Wow, this hand's really close. I'm gonna keep it. I think I like that it has the Soul Guide Lantern. Okay, never punished. Never punished. Probably don't need the recruit. Melstrider's Resolve looks great right here. Does it not? We get to play our Scavenger and then fight the Cub. Make sure I have triggered abilities. Auto order off here. Resolve this first. Up. It's Melstrider's Resolve, baby. Kills my Scavenger, no problem. They're stuck on lands. Huge for us. Play a Scavenger. Let's hold up Hexproof. No need to get silly here. We only have the one creature, so we kind of need it to live. Overlord. Bloodghast here. I'm just going to let them have the Bloodghast. There's no reason to fire off the Lantern quite yet. Kind of thinking about sacking the Lantern to draw, but because we have the second one, but I'd rather actually have the mana to... I want access to the Lantern, and I need mana to hold up Shard Mage's Rescue next turn, so I can't do it all quite yet, but not really a problem. However, The optimistic scavenger is becoming quite a problem for them. Feeling pretty good about our position. Swing it in for 2. Not super relevant. Another cub. Town greeter. There's the Beifong bounty hunters. Fun. Once again, I think I want a hunter's talent next turn. Take the cub out of the picture. So I need to hold up my mana here. Starting town, not bad. Swinging in. You better chump while you can. I'm just going to say that right now. Continuing to open up our mana. I kind of love this deck now. I think it's actually so much better without the armadillos. You just need one creature. You just hope it. You do everything you can to protect your baby. Armadillo is cute, but I think the fact that it there's a big difference between Ward 1 and Ward 2, and also I don't know. It just doesn't. The toughness maybe just doesn't matter that much. What are they doing? Turning stuff. Well, I'm going to hit them with the lantern, I suppose. Not much to think about there. Fortunately for us, we have another lantern. More protection. It's pretty nice. So we can level up the hunter's talent here. Play the second lantern. Continue to swing in. Present a lethal attack next turn. If they have double removal spell, we get a little ranched, but not necessarily dead to that. I like to think of this list as a response to the greed in standard, where it's like everyone's just trying to do their thing as quickly as possible, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to do now this has become sort of a very interactive game plan, incredibly resilient, because decks are so light on removal, like the really all-in decks are so light on removal, my guys just become impossible to beat. Impossibly large, very evasive. Shelter by Ghosts with the lifelink puts everything out of reach, and everything's so cheap that I just get to I get to do everything quite consistently. I only fumble if I run out of creatures, basically. Another Innkeeper's Talent. If I swing in and they don't block, well, they have to block. This is, I think I can present lethal if I play a second Innkeeper's Talent. I didn't do the math, but this feels right. It's probably not, now that I'm doing the math. A pretty big attack, though. Oh, actually, this is lethal. An extra 4 damage. Nice. We did it. We did it. Great run. A great last few matches there. Above 90% Mythic. Should I just keep going until I lose? No, I think we're going to end on a high note. 5-3 overall. Pretty good. I believed in the deck, made a couple changes. Got to get this armadillo picture off of the deck list here. The true MVP is really Optimistic Scavenger, I think. But as far as like cards that, obviously this is really, really good in the Spider-Man sets limited, like draft. It's crazy. It's one of the best ways to just close out games. Turns out not that bad in constructed either, I think. Ward 2. Ward 2 is a big deal. But I liked the angle that the flexibility of Hunter's Talent seems like a really nice addition. Not sure exactly on the final 75. I think I'm still going to iterate on this one because I think it does some pretty powerful stuff, but you can be sure that if you're doing this green-white list, I think 4 Scavengers, 4 Toadstool Admirers, 4 Wonderweave Aerialists, that's like your core. I think you need one other sort of creature situation. Maybe you just go all in on the Most Helpful Weaver because it's an enchantment, it's a creature, it puts counters on stuff, helps you close out the game. So you could maybe argue for more of those over the Paw Patch recruits. But overall, I like what we've settled on here. I'm going to probably continue to iterate and test it in a future video. One big thing the deck gets in Lorwyn, Temple Gardens, actually makes the mana a lot more reasonable. There were definitely some draws where it really felt like casting the Wonderweave Aerialist was pretty tough. But overall, I like it. The sideboard is kind of tough to decide on what to do. You really want you don't want to change up your like main deck game plan a whole lot, but test it out yourself, see what you think. Thanks for checking out the video. If you watched all the way to the end, this full 2-hour green-white hexproof through all the ups and downs, thank you so much. It really means a lot, actually, that you stuck it out with me through the ups and downs. So thanks for checking it out. I've been Eric, and hope you have a nice day. Bye bye.